You are listening to the James Carpenter Podcast Show, episode number 10.
Happy March. Can you believe it's already the month of March? Isn't that crazy? But I'm excited it's here, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Now, on today's topic, it's going to be so intriguing because I'm going to be talking to you about the differences involved with your thoughts on being overweight versus being at your natural weight. And I want to go over why we make it harder than it has to be. You're going to learn how to unlock the secret for quick and sustainable weight loss, starting with your mind. Plus, you'll find out my top 3 tools I give my clients to lose weight and what I personally have used to drop 30 pounds and how I'm able to maintain my weight without using willpower. Now, this approach requires you to take a more proactive and intentional direction of your thinking because that's where it all starts. So let's dive in. It includes this concept of how we think we'll feel when something happens. You know what I mean? It's the story that we're telling ourselves about how much better it's going to be when this thing happens, whether it's we're going to get married or have kids or we get the next job promotion, we get into the big house. And it's a beautiful story that we play over and over again. But why haven't we gotten it yet? Why haven't we realized this great thing in our life? Specifically with weight loss. And this concept around choosing your hard revolves around what you're making it mean and what you're choosing to believe around being thin versus, being overweight, being fat. Because, how would you answer what thin is? How would you describe it? What words would you use to explain what thin is? And in asking several of my clients to describe it, this is what they came back with. It's beautiful. It's desirable, even. I want that. It means a small pant size, not mushy, not sustainable. It's hard. It's unattainable, unhealthy. It's too much work. And that's interesting to hear the different reactions that we have based on our past experiences and previous exposure. That's what we're telling ourselves. But then let's flip the coin around. What about fat? What does fat hard look like? And how would you define it? What are those words that you would use to describe or to explain it? And here's what I've been told. Someone said a big belly, uncomfortable, missing out, yucky, or it doesn't feel good, limiting, hard. And it's interesting that depending on where you're at and what experiences you've had, hard is actually found on both sides of the equation. People say that both thin and fat is hard. What's your belief or thoughts around which you'd rather have? Is it the thin hard or the fat hard? And then ask yourself, well, what's hard about it? What words would you use to explain it? And it's what we say and what will oftentimes make it mean to justify why we're not losing the weight or why it is that we're not giving it our all. And we tell ourselves these stories so much that we create our results ahead of time of not losing the weight. And so we have to break through those thoughts that aren't serving you, that are negative, that you've fortified for so long. We have to raid the castle and retrain our brains to think and to believe that this is possible, that this is going to happen. Now, remember, your brain won't want to do this to try something new or to disbelieve old ways of thinking because it wants to remain efficient and to think similar and familiar thoughts. And this is key to understanding why you're not already skinny or at your natural weight. Because if you believed it, you'd already have it. Now, as always, you have a choice. You get to keep doing what you've done with the same line of thinking, or you get to try on some new thought patterns for the results you want. And here's a great question to start or to continually ask. What's the worst thing that can happen? Honestly, if the worst thing that can happen is to feel a little bit of hunger, is that really so bad? Because your brain's going to tell you you're going to die, but you're not going to die. You're going to have some hunger, and that's okay. Someone recently asked me if the negative thoughts ever go away. And this was my answer. Those thoughts never completely disappear, but you're able to manage them so much better because what's happening now is you're giving so much control and authority to your current thinking that it can feel challenging to think or to ever do anything different. And it stems from our thinking about the situation or about the circumstances in our lives that cause us to emotionally overeat. And the publicized solution is to distract ourselves or exert more willpower to overcome the temptation. But my friends, in my experience, that's way harder because when push comes to shove, when you feel stressed or overwhelmed, willpower goes out the window and there's not much that will stop you from getting your fix. And that's so important is to understand and to realize you can't escape your feelings. I like to think of it like this. You can either feel your feelings from whatever it is you're trying not to feel by eating the food to get that dopamine hit, because, then think about it. What happens when you do eat it or after you eat it? You feel guilty and upset. And you're like, well, why did I do that? And you're hard on yourself. And so you're feeling all of those negative feelings anyways, but you're not losing the weight, right? So which hard do you want to do? Do you want to do hard where you don't eat the food and you feel the feelings and deal with whatever you're trying to escape? Or do you do the hard where you do eat or overeat and then you feel the feelings of feeling like crap? Plus, whatever you were trying to avoid hasn't been dealt with. Plus, you're going to be overweight. So choose your hard. Now, to the other extreme, oftentimes people think that they can get medication or surgery to cut the fat off, literally, but you'd never address the mental aspect. And so much of the time, you'll gain the weight right back because you haven't changed or modified habits, especially your thoughts about your relationship with food. And it will continue to be a battle. It will stand as being hard. I'm under the mindset that it's not hard to be at your natural weight and to then maintain it. I believe it because I've done it. And my experience in losing weight through this work is evidence and shows that it's possible, along with the other hundreds of people right there with me. And here's my backstory. I had a day job when I started doing this, and I gradually pushed back my first meal. I ate breakfast around 7:15 because I had to be at the door. And I remember extending to 9 at first and then to 10:30. Now I'm at the point where I don't naturally feel hungry until around noon or that 1 o'clock time frame. And what I'm referring to here is intermittent fasting. And here's some of the excuses I remember I would tell myself is I'm not working hard enough, or I'll do it when the kids are older, after this semester, or on the next promotion, next month, or after the weekend, or I'm not doing something right because others are getting results. And so ask yourself, what are the excuses that you're telling yourself? The excuses that you're hanging on to that are making it hard, the ones that you have to let go of to finally have success, to see the scale numbers start dropping. Okay, now I want to share with you my 3 tools that I use personally and that I give to my clients. Now, here's the process for anyone willing to join. Number 1 is you have to have an unconquerable why. This is your no matter what reason. Write it down, stick it on your fridge, or write it on your bathroom mirror, whatever you have to do to see it and remind yourself, because you've got to believe it. You've got to feel it. Now practice it. Say it over and over again. So that's number 1, your unconquerable why. Why is it that this time it's going to work? Number 2, pre-planning with my food journal. Now, you can find this on my website as a free download. It doesn't involve or include calorie counting or measuring or weighing of food, but you have to plan ahead of time to get the results you want. Now, this can be applied to most things, but let's focus on the objective of weight loss, because it's this idea that you have to plan out your meals and your meal times ahead of time and then stick to it. It's really that simple. If you feel hungry, ask yourself, is it on my food protocol? If not, say no and then move on. And it's okay to be hungry, because hunger will come in waves and will usually only last a few minutes, because it's okay to be hungry. Number 3, using the food meter. This is where you get to track how you feel both before and after eating. And you can get this on the food journal as well. Eating at your scheduled meal times and then stopping when you're full, not overstuffed or to the point where you feel like you're going to go into a food coma. And this goes beyond intuitive eating because, yes, you're listening to your body, but you're also addressing the mental side of it as well, which without it, this won't work long term because you'll fall back into old habits because you never address the root of your relationship and beliefs with food and why you eat what you do. And this is what I help my clients with. And I guess this is technically number 4, but remembering to drink plenty of water. Now, water is a natural hunger suppressant. So the best news is you get to choose to either keep on the same road, the one that you're on, leading you to the same results, or traveling a new course, one to lose weight once and for all. And my approach offers you this ability to lose weight, which will free up so much of the chit chat that goes on inside of you. And there you have it, my 3 tools to lose weight and then to maintain it. Now, the additional benefits include this renewed sense of energy and motivation for other areas in your life because you get to stop thinking about food so much, which allows you to then think and to focus on other goals you want to get. It's quite fantastic. And that's what I want for you. But you are the only one to make that happen. You get to choose your heart, and I'm here to help. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you like this week's podcast, then you should check out my 6-week online weight loss program, where we'll focus on your hormones to get you to your natural weight and look at what's happening in your life and why food is just a distraction that's keeping you from loving your life. Simply schedule a mini call with me at eliteweightsolutions.com/join-me.